Okay, my honest thoughts on iRacing's new GT3 tyre model. Well, I'm going to let you know in this video because I'm at Daytona in the Ferrari 296 GT3 and I've been driving on iRacing for years and years. I created a super fast qualifying guide here for like the Daytona 24 Hours back in like 2020 maybe. That's on YouTube, and I've been driving iRacing alongside driving and racing in real life Mazda MX-5s, and also I've driven the Ferrari 488 GT3, GT Challenge, one of them in America as well. Obviously I'm driving a lot on Le Mans Ultimate, ACC, AC Evo and the original AC as well. Now my experience with the tyres in iRacing from back in the day was that icy cold at the beginning, very easy to spin the car. I remember spinning at Tetra Rouge in the Le Mans 24 Hours early on because I just hadn't warmed up the tyres well enough. That was pretty embarrassing. But then also there was a sensation that, and I really liked the iRacing tyre model like back in the day, once you got into a groove you could kind of do the same laps again and again as long as you weren't pushing them out of the window. So it was a really nice consistency thing, and I loved going around looking at my sector times, trying to get all my sector times exactly the same and being in this window. So it taught me a lot about endurance racing, consistency, and iRacing was and still is my preferred sim for big endurance races. I did endurance races on ACC as well, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't enjoy the variability in the tyres just when you were driving normally, a lot more lateral sliding. Now the criticism people have had, as I've understood it on iRacing, the tyre model, is that it doesn't reward you for kind of pushing. And so my perspective on that is that I did spin plenty of times on iRacing with kind of unsavable spins when I was pushing that I couldn't save. And that seemed a bit unrealistic. Now when I drove the Ferrari GT car for real in America, I did also spin it in real life. So I understand that sensation of not being able to save a spin. But those were all kind of like low speed spins. Getting on the power at low speed, kind of turning in at low speed. Whereas what would happen in the GT3s and iRacing, oh my god, and there we go, we're going to get onto that, and also the GTEs, was that you would have these unsavable spins at like mid-corner speed, maybe like there. And that was when everything was warmed up. You got kind of punished for trying to push things. Didn't bother me that much as I was always trying to be consistent. Now I understand what they've done. And by the way, I've been racing on iRacing quite a bit off stream and off camera. Been doing open wheel races, been doing GT3 races, including in the Ferrari 296. And pre-tyre update, I was surprised actually at how much I could push the 296 GT3 and catch oversteer. I was really pleasantly surprised. This is before this latest update. That was a lot better than it was back in the day. Now with the update, I understand that the tyres come out cooler, so we're back to sort of, you need to warm up the tyres, you need to bed them in, you can't do qualifying laps off the bat. Now that's fine for me, I actually liked that back in the day. I liked the deliberation of going out, kind of like warming up the car, warming up the tyres, and then trying to hit the big laps. So as you can see here, I've already spun it. Maybe the tyres a little bit cold. Now, iRacing doesn't give you the most up-to-date information really on the tyres, like ACC, which is maybe a bit something they need to update if we're going to go for this new tyre model. But you can see on the dash here that I've got my pressures updating on the dash, and the wear will show when I come into the pits. The other thing apparently is now you can push the car a bit more in iRacing on the limit and not be punished, or you're rewarded but also you're not punished. So we'll have a look here as we're going around for our third lap with tyres now more in the window. Oh, you can see there I was having multiple bites of the cherry trying to turn in, and this is a bit more alive actually. This is a bit more alive. Hang on a second. Okay, so it is less sterile. It is going to be a bit less, I would say, from this experience. Kind of, you have to do your practice, you have to go into practice sessions, find your braking points, nail all your braking points. which is a bit of a barrier to entry when you have everything available on iRacing. As you accumulate the content, accumulate the tracks, accumulate the cars, you want to kind of dive around, do a bit of oval, do a bit of road, do a bit of open wheel. But it was always, that was a recipe for disaster in the past. The combination of the very harsh SR system, which we all, I think, respect, but also the difficulty on the cars. Right, let's try and see what we can do here. You can see the car, goodness me, really moving around quite a lot. Now, I don't have a lot of road feel here. Obviously, a big point of comparison for me is R Factor 2. In Le Mans Ultimate using the R Factor 2 force feedback. In that sim, you do get a lot of road feel. You get a lot of the bumps and everything like that. I don't have that here. I recently flew over to SimLab. I interviewed the SimLab CEO and got his opinion on filters and everything. The wheelbase I am using now, the SimuQ2 Pro, I don't want to spoil that video. In fact, I won't spoil that video because it's one of the most interesting videos I've ever done on sim racing. But road feel using this wheelbase, or the other wheelbase, is a big part of it. I don't have that here, but what I would say is that, again, when I've been racing in real life, you feel road feel. Like, you feel the surface of the road, but you don't feel it through your wheel. You feel it through your butt. And what Le Mans Ultimate has done is taken that feeling and put it through the wheel. So that means for me, the wheel is not an accurate representation of the wheel in real life. However, you do have sensation to get in real life. iRacing just doesn't put it through the wheel, really, for me. I know you can adjust all these things, but I think you'll agree on that one with me, at least in the comments. Let me know. iRacing just doesn't place a lot of favour on that. Instead, it wants you to understand the load on the tyres. So how is the car loaded? A little bit, how is the weight transfer of the car? But I'm really enjoying the fluidity in the braking zones and mid-corner here. Oh, that sustained load there is amazing. Whee! Oh my goodness, had a huge accident. Had a huge... That's very interesting. That's very interesting. That is a lot more aligned than it was previously. It feels like you can actually push and you can have a bite. Oh no, you can have another bite. You can adjust every time. That's going to be exciting for endurance races. That's going to be exciting when your fuel load's changing. Whereas back in the day, iRacing was a bit more of a science, for me anyway. It was like scientific, like with a scalpel, and it rewarded the consistency, rewarded the practice. And ironically, Le Mans Ultimate has been a little bit more about passion, like kind of like really feeling it because you feel so connected. And we'll do another video comparing the Le Mans Ultimate force feedback and then one between the two. But let me know your thoughts on the new iRacing GT3 tyre model. I think this is going to be a little bit more involving. It sounds like a step in the right direction. However, the cold tyres and everything like that might be a bit controversial. So let me know what you think in the comments.